Have you ever wondered why some people seem to attract wealth effortlessly, while others work just as hard or even harder but still struggle financially? In Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, Harv Eker explains that the answer isn't just about education, intelligence, or opportunity. It's about something deeper and far more powerful than your money blueprint. This invisible programming, shaped in childhood by the words, actions, and beliefs of those around us, quietly dictates our financial future. Whether we succeed, plateau, or sabotage our own progress, it all comes down to how we're wired to think about money. Eker's book dives into the hidden patterns of the rich and contrasts them with the habits of the poor and middle class. More than just theory, it's a practical guide to identifying and reshaping those internal beliefs so you can finally build the wealth you deserve. It's not just about learning how rich people think. It's about becoming someone who naturally creates and maintains wealth from the inside out. Chapter 1. Your Money Blueprint. What if your financial results had less to do with the economy and more to do with your subconscious programming? In Chapter 1, Harv Eker introduces a powerful idea. Every person has a money blueprint, an internal script that determines how they relate to money. This blueprint influences how much we earn, how much we keep, and even how we feel about wealth. The most surprising part, most of us didn't choose this blueprint. It was shaped when we were kids. Think back to when you were growing up. Maybe you heard your parents argue about bills, or one of them said things like, "Money doesn't grow on trees," or "Rich people are greedy." These phrases may seem harmless, but over time, they planted seeds. Let's say a boy named Ryan grew up in a house where his mom constantly stressed about paying rent. His dad often said, "We're not like those rich folks. We work hard." Without even realizing it, Ryan started believing that wealth is only for others, and that struggling is just a normal part of life. As an adult, Ryan works hard, earns decently, but somehow, he never saves. Money slips through his fingers, and deep down, he feels uncomfortable with the idea of being rich. Why? Because his blueprint was set long ago to expect scarcity, not abundance. Eker explains that our blueprint is formed by 3 key influences: verbal programming, what we heard growing up about money; modeling, how the people around us acted with money; specific incidents, emotional experiences linked to money, like a job loss or sudden windfall. These early messages shape our mindset like a thermostat. If your inner setting is stuck at a certain level, say, just enough to survive, that's where you'll unconsciously keep yourself, no matter how much you try to rise above it. Start by identifying your current money blueprint. Ask yourself, what did I hear about money as a child? What did I see the people around me do with money? What emotional experiences shaped my views? Write your answers down. Then ask, are these beliefs helping me or holding me back? Once you become aware of them, you can begin to change them. Chapter 2. The roots create the fruits. Ever feel like you're doing everything right, working hard, saving money, chasing goals, but still not getting ahead financially? It's frustrating, right? The truth is, what's happening on the outside, your income, your debt, your bank account, is just a reflection of what's going on inside, as Harv Eker puts it. Your outer world is simply a reflection of your inner world. Let's look at how this plays out in real life. Picture a man named Dan. He runs a small landscaping business. Every spring, he works long hours, gets clients, and makes decent money. But somehow, by fall, he's broke again. So he buys new equipment, lowers prices, hustles harder, but the same pattern repeats. One day, a friend asks, "Dan, why do you always undercharge? You're doing premium work, but pricing like it's a favor." Dan shrugs. "I don't know. I guess I don't feel like people would pay more." There it was. His inner belief, his root, was telling him he didn't deserve more. And until he fixed that belief, no strategy or effort could change the outcome. This chapter drills down on a powerful concept. Thoughts lead to feelings. Feelings lead to actions. Actions lead to results. If your thoughts about money are rooted in fear, guilt, or unworthiness, your financial results will reflect that, no matter how hard you grind. Just like a tree, if the roots are weak or rotten, no matter how much sunlight or water you give it, the fruits won't grow right. That's why mindset work isn't optional. It's foundational. And here's where mindset meets action. Take 10 minutes today. Grab a pen and ask yourself, what are my current beliefs about money? Are they empowering or limiting? Write down at least 3 beliefs you learned growing up, maybe from your parents, culture, or experiences, and ask, are these beliefs helping me grow? Or are they holding me back? Awareness is the first step to change. The fruit you see in your life is the result of the roots you've planted in your mind. Change the roots, and you'll change your financial destiny. Chapter 3. Your Financial Blueprint. Have you ever wondered why 2 people with the same education, background, and opportunities can end up in completely different financial situations? One might be drowning in debt, while the other builds lasting wealth. The difference isn't just luck or talent, it's their financial blueprint. In this chapter, Harv Eker reveals that every person has an internal script that guides how they relate to money, usually without even realizing it. But what exactly is this blueprint? And how does it silently shape our financial lives? Let's break it down with a story. Imagine 2 brothers, Jake and Ryan, raised in the same household by a father who constantly complained money doesn't grow on trees and rich people are greedy. Jake absorbed those lessons, believing wealth was evil and hard to get. Even as an adult, anytime he earned more than usual, he found a way to lose it, overspending, poor investments, or giving it away. Ryan, on the other hand, became curious about his beliefs. He began reading, attending seminars, and questioning everything he had been taught. Slowly, he reprogrammed his thinking and started seeing money as a tool for freedom and contribution. Today, Ryan runs a successful business. Jake still lives paycheck to paycheck. This chapter teaches us that your financial blueprint is formed through childhood conditioning, what you heard, saw, and experienced about money. It's like software running in the background, influencing every financial decision you make. If your blueprint is set to low or negative wealth, no matter how much you earn, you'll find a way to sabotage it. But the good news? Blueprints can be changed. You can rewire your inner script through awareness, understanding, and conscious practice. Start noticing your automatic thoughts about money. Do you feel guilty when you receive more? Do you think it's too hard to get rich? Do you secretly believe rich people are bad? Write down these beliefs. Then challenge each one. Replace them with empowering alternatives like, money is a tool for freedom. I deserve to be wealthy. The more I earn, the more I can help others. Read your new affirmations daily. You're literally rewiring your brain and reshaping your financial destiny. Your financial future isn't controlled by your past, it's controlled by your programming. And the moment you become aware of your blueprint, you gain the power to redesign it for success. Chapter 4. Rich people believe I create my life. Poor people believe life happens to me. Do you feel in control of your financial destiny, or does life always seem to get in the way? In this chapter, Eker lays down the first and most foundational difference between the rich and the poor: responsibility. Rich people take ownership of their lives. Poor people often play the victim. The mindset you carry here sets the stage for everything that follows. Picture Lisa and Amanda, 2 co-workers laid off during a recession. Lisa blames the economy, her company, and her bad luck. She sits at home, angry and anxious. Amanda, though hurt, sees it as a chance to pivot. She upgrades her skills and starts freelancing. Within months, she's earning more than she did at her job. Both face the same situation, but their beliefs shape their outcomes. Eker emphasizes that rich-minded people operate from the belief, I create my life. They know that while we can't control every external event, we can always control our reactions, choices, and mindset. Poor-minded people often blame their circumstances, government, upbringing, or bad breaks. But the moment you blame, you give away your power. Playing the victim might feel comforting short-term, but it silently kills your chances of financial success. Do a personal check-in. Where do you currently feel stuck financially? Are you blaming someone or something? Write down one situation where you feel powerless. Then flip it by asking, how did I help create this? What can I do to take back control? It's not about guilt, it's about ownership. Affirm daily. I create the exact amount of success I desire. The rich take full responsibility. The poor hand their power away. If you want to master wealth, start by mastering your mindset and own your life. Chapter 5. Rich people play the money game to win. Poor people play the money game to not lose. Have you ever noticed how some people are just surviving financially while others are striving and thriving? This chapter uncovers why that happens. The rich have one clear intention: to win big. In contrast, the poor often aim just to get by. The goal you set consciously or unconsciously determines how far you'll go. To truly shift your financial life, you must first shift the goal you're aiming for. Let's bring this idea to life with a relatable example. Meet Joe and Marcus, two friends working in sales. Joe plays it safe. He just wants to make enough to cover his bills and maybe save a little. Marcus, on the other hand, sets a bold goal. He wants to be the top earner in his region. He learns aggressively, builds his network, and asks for big accounts. A year later, Joe is still scraping by. Marcus is living his dream. Why? Because Joe was playing to not lose. Marcus was playing to win. Eker says most people's financial goals are set too low. They aim for just enough, or a bit more than last year. But rich-minded people shoot for massive success. They understand that big results require bold intention. If your mindset is focused only on security, you'll rarely experience freedom. Think of it this way. Playing not to lose leads to fear. Playing to win fuels creativity and courage. Ask yourself honestly, what's your financial goal right now? Is it focused on safety or true abundance? Write a new goal that stretches you. One that feels a little scary, but exciting. Then affirm this. My goal is to create massive wealth and serve others by doing what I love. Remember, playing small won't make you rich, and it won't help the world either. The rich aim high and play to win. Now, it's your turn to step up. Chapter 6. Rich people are committed to being rich. Poor people just want to be rich. There's a huge difference between wanting something and being committed to getting it. This chapter explores why the rich actually succeed because they treat wealth as a must, not a maybe. The poor often say they want to be rich, but their actions don't back it up. If you've ever said, I want to be rich, ask yourself, do you truly mean it, or does it just sound nice? Let's look at what real commitment looks like. Sarah and Jamie both dream of becoming financially free. Sarah watches motivational videos, scrolls through success quotes, and buys a budgeting app, but she never follows through. Jamie, on the other hand, wakes up early to study money, invests in a coach, and sacrifices weekends to build her side hustle. 2 years later, Sarah's still dreaming. Jamie owns 2 properties and has quit her job. The difference? Sarah wanted to be rich. Jamie was committed. Harv Eker makes this brutally clear. If you're not fully, totally, and truly committed to creating wealth, chances are you won't. Commitment means doing whatever it takes, legally, ethically, and responsibly, to reach your goal. That includes facing fear, discomfort, and sacrifice. Most people aren't poor because they lack desire. They're poor because they haven't made a decision to commit. Wanting is passive. Commitment is active. Make a decision right now. Say out loud, I am committed to becoming rich. I will do whatever it takes, ethically and responsibly, to create wealth and freedom in my life. Then, write down one uncomfortable step you've been avoiding. Take action on it today. Wanting won't make you wealthy, but commitment backed by action. That's where the transformation begins. Chapter 7. Rich people think big, poor people think small. Thinking big isn't just some feel-good motivational slogan. It's the foundation of how millionaires operate. It's about training your mind to look beyond limitations and dream on a grand scale. Rich people don't just aim to make a living. They aim to create wealth, build legacies, and impact thousands, sometimes millions, of lives. They set bold, ambitious goals because they understand that the size of your vision directly shapes the size of your results. On the other hand, poor people often limit their thinking. They downsize their dreams to fit their fears. If your vision is small, your results will be too. So how do rich people expand their thinking while others limit themselves? Let's break it down with a real-world example. Meet Jason and Kyle. Both are graphic designers. Jason takes small gigs online, happy to make ends meet. He's scared to raise prices or aim for bigger clients. He says, "I don't want to get too greedy." Kyle, meanwhile, starts a YouTube channel, builds a team, launches an agency, and partners with influencers. In 2 years, he's built a 6-figure brand. The difference? Jason played small. Kyle thought big. Harv Eker says, "If your goal is to survive, you'll struggle. If your goal is to thrive, you'll win." Thinking small is rooted in fear. Fear of failure, rejection, or even success. Rich people break free from this by focusing on service and scale. They ask, "How can I help more people in a bigger way?" Poor people often ask, "How can I just get by?" Big thinking leads to big actions. Small thinking leads to excuses. Ask yourself, where am I playing small in my life? Now write down one area where you can expand your goals. One action you'll take this week to think and act bigger. Example, instead of freelancing for $50, pitch a $5,000 project to a business. If you want to live large, you must think large. Don't let small thinking keep you stuck in a small life. Chapter 8. Rich people. Focus on opportunities. Poor people focus on obstacles. Why do some people see open doors while others only see walls? It's not luck, it's mindset. Rich people train their minds to spot chances, while poor people stay locked in fear, waiting for things to go wrong. The truth? What you focus on expands. So if you focus on problems, you'll get more of them. But if you focus on possibility, you open yourself up to growth, wealth, and breakthroughs. Let's say 2 people are offered the same business opportunity. One says, "What if it fails? What if I lose money?" The other asks, "What if it works? What if this changes everything?" That second person may not have more talent or money, but they have a different focus. That's what separates successful entrepreneurs and investors from those stuck on the sidelines. They don't ignore risks, but they refuse to be ruled by them. This principle cuts deep. Poor people are often trapped in a survival mindset. They see obstacles first: economy, competition, fear of failure. But rich people train themselves to spot opportunities. A new market, a creative idea, a smart connection. And the brain follows your lead. If you're always looking for problems, you'll find them. But if you're tuned in to solutions, ideas, and growth, you'll start seeing doors you never knew were there. It's not about being reckless. It's about shifting your focus from fear to possibility. The next time you're faced with a decision, pause. Ask yourself, am I focusing on the risk or the opportunity? Write down 3 possible gains instead of 3 potential losses. Train your brain to ask, what's possible, instead of what could go wrong. This one habit could change your entire financial future. Where you place your attention is where your life will grow. So stop obsessing over what might break and start building what might fly. Chapter 9. Rich people admire other rich and successful people. Poor people resent them. Ever noticed how some people cheer for success while others secretly hate it? Rich people respect and admire wealth. They see it as inspiration. Poor people? They often judge, criticize, or resent the rich. But here's the kicker. You can't attract what you resent. If deep down you believe rich people are bad, greedy, or lucky, you'll block yourself from becoming one of them. Think about this. You're scrolling through Instagram and see someone celebrating a new car, dream vacation, or $1 million business. What's your gut reaction? If it's jealousy or annoyance, that's your inner programming talking. Harv Eker says rich people respond differently. They say, "Good for them. If they can do it, so can I." That's the mindset that builds success. Resentment is repellent. If you believe rich people are corrupt, arrogant, or undeserving, then on a subconscious level, you'll never want to be like them. That belief becomes a wall between you and wealth. On the other hand, if you start admiring and celebrating the success of others, you're opening yourself to the same energy. Your mind will say, "We're allowed to win too." Here's your challenge. Whenever you see someone with success, big house, booming business, joyful lifestyle, say out loud, "I'm happy for them. Their success is proof that it's possible for me." Train yourself to feel gratitude and inspiration when you see wealth, not jealousy. That simple shift can rewire your financial destiny. If you want to join the successful, stop fighting them. Celebrate wealth and you'll start walking toward it. Chapter 10. Rich people associate with positive, successful people. Poor people associate with negative or unsuccessful people. You've probably heard the saying, "You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." That's not just a catchy quote. It's a financial reality. Rich people intentionally surround themselves with other driven, inspiring, and forward-thinking individuals. Meanwhile, poor people often stay stuck in circles of negativity, gossip, and blame. Who you spend time with can either pull you up or drag you down. Imagine a young entrepreneur trying to grow a business. If they hang around people who complain about the economy, criticize the wealthy, or fear risk, their ambition will shrink. But if that same entrepreneur joins a mastermind group of high achievers, reads success stories, and connects with people who encourage growth, everything changes. Their goals expand, their belief system upgrades, and momentum builds. Energy is contagious. If your inner circle constantly talks about what's wrong with the world, how hard life is, or how others are lucky, you'll unconsciously absorb that mindset. But when you're surrounded by people who talk about ideas, possibilities, and take action, you'll rise with them. Your environment shapes your identity, and your identity shapes your results. Audit your inner circle. Who lifts you up? Who pulls you down? Spend more time with people who are where you want to be. Mentors, positive friends, authors, podcast hosts. You don't even have to know them personally. Just consume their energy. And if someone in your life is constantly negative, consider limiting that influence or transforming the conversation when you're with them. Your network is your net worth. Choose your circle like your future depends on it, because it does. Chapter 11. Rich people are willing to promote themselves and their value. Poor people think negatively about selling and promotion. Let's be real. Promotion gets a bad rap. Many people see selling as pushy, fake, or manipulative. But here's the truth. If you believe in what you offer, not promoting it is doing the world a disservice. Wealthy people understand this. They proudly stand behind their products, their services, and themselves. Meanwhile, poor people often shy away from attention, fearing judgment. Think about someone you know who's incredibly talented but struggles to make money. They don't like marketing themselves. Now contrast that with someone less skilled, but confident and loud about what they do. Who's winning financially? That's the power of promotion. The rich know how to amplify their value, while the poor quietly wait to be discovered. If you can't express your value, the world can't reward you for it. Selling isn't about manipulation, it's about communication. It's saying, "Here's how I can help you." Rich people believe in what they offer so deeply, they feel obligated to promote it. The poor, however, often let self-doubt or fear of rejection silence them. Reframe your mindset about promotion. Instead of thinking, "I don't want to be pushy," say, "I believe in what I offer, and I want people to benefit from it." Practice telling your story. Share your wins. Post your work. Talk to people about what you do, with confidence, not apology. If you don't promote yourself, who will? Self-promotion isn't arrogance. It's alignment with your value. Speak up, show up, and let the world see what you're made of. Chapter 12. Rich people are bigger than their problems. Poor people are smaller than their problems. Let's be honest. Life throws challenges at all of us. But here's what separates the wealthy mindset from the poor one. Size. Not the size of the problem, but the size of the person facing it. Rich people face problems head-on. They grow through them. Poor people often freeze or run, letting problems define their limits. Picture two entrepreneurs. One faces a sudden financial setback and says, "This is part of the game. What's the next move?" The other panics and feels like a failure and gives up. Same problem, different mindset. Wealthy people build inner strength. They know that to grow their money, they must first grow themselves. The truth is, your income can only grow to the extent you do. Big success brings big challenges. If you avoid problems, you also avoid the growth and rewards that come with solving them. Rich people ask, "What's the lesson here?" Poor people ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Next time you face a problem, take a breath and say, "I am bigger than this." Write down the challenge, break it into steps, and take the first action, even a small one. Problems don't shrink by being ignored. They shrink when you rise above them. You don't need a problem-free life. You need to be the kind of person who can handle anything. Grow stronger than what's in your way. Chapter 13. Rich people are excellent receivers. Poor people are poor receivers. Here's something most people overlook. Your ability to receive is just as important as your ability to give. Many people say they want wealth, but when it actually starts showing up, they resist it, consciously or unconsciously. Rich people are open to receiving success, money, love, and support. Poor people often deflect it, feeling unworthy or uncomfortable. Imagine someone gives you a compliment, and your instinct is to say, "Oh, this old thing?" Or, "No, I'm not that great." That's poor receiving in action. Now picture someone else who responds with a simple "thank you" and allows themselves to truly take it in. That's how rich people treat money, opportunity, and praise. They don't push it away. They welcome it. Many of us were raised with the idea that it's better to give than to receive. But the truth is, both are essential. If everyone only gave, no one would receive. Wealthy people understand that money is energy, and to attract more of it, you have to stay open. Feeling worthy is the foundation of being a good receiver. Start practicing receiving in small ways. When someone compliments you, say "thank you" without deflecting. When money or opportunity shows up, resist the urge to second-guess it. Journal this statement and repeat it daily. I am an excellent receiver. I deserve to be rich because I add value to the world. If you want the universe to hand you more, open both your hands and your heart. Receiving is not a weakness. It's wealth in motion. Chapter 14. Rich people choose to get paid based on results. Poor people choose to get paid based on time. Here's a truth that separates the rich from the rest. Wealthy people prefer to be rewarded for performance, not time. They understand that income should reflect the value they bring, not the hours they clock in. On the flip side, poor people often seek security through hourly wages or fixed salaries, even if it means capping their income potential. Think about two people. One is a freelancer who earns based on completed projects. The other is a full-time employee earning an hourly wage. The freelancer may make 3 times more in a week if they deliver great work and manage their time well. The employee, no matter how efficient or skilled, hits a ceiling. Rich people aim for limitless opportunity. Poor people often cling to predictable, limited income. Choosing to be paid for results means taking more responsibility, but it also means opening the door to unlimited growth. It's a mindset shift from security to freedom. If you believe in your ability to create value, why limit yourself to getting paid by the hour? Rich people bet on themselves. They take risks, but those risks often come with big rewards. Ask yourself, how can I start earning based on results? Can I take on a performance-based project, build a business, or offer services where income depends on impact? Even if you have a job, you can seek commissions, bonuses, or side ventures that reward outcomes, not just time. Write this down daily. I choose to be paid based on my results. My value creates wealth. When you stop trading time for money and start trading value for income, you unlock the earning power of the truly wealthy. Chapter 15. Rich people think both. Poor people think either or. One of the biggest mental traps that keeps people poor is the belief that life is about choosing either this or that. Rich people break out of that box. Instead of asking, should I have a successful career or a happy family life? They ask, how can I have both? It's not about sacrifice. It's about expanding possibility. Imagine someone debating, should I invest in my education or save money? A wealthy-minded person will find a way to do both. Maybe they get a scholarship, take on a part-time job, or find free resources online. Poor-minded individuals often lock themselves in a scarcity-based choice, limiting their options and growth. This either-or thinking comes from a mindset of lack. It assumes there's only so much to go around. But life isn't a zero-sum game. Rich people believe in abundance. They train their minds to seek creative solutions. Instead of shrinking their lives, they expand their thinking. The next time you catch yourself thinking in limits, stop. Reframe the question. Don't ask either or, ask, how can I have both? Write this declaration down. I always think in terms of both. I expand my life by expanding my mindset. Practice this daily and watch how your options and income grow. Your future is shaped by the questions you ask. So stop choosing between success and happiness. Choose both. And build a life that reflects the mindset of the truly wealthy. Chapter 16. Rich people focus on their net worth. Poor people focus on their working income. Let me ask you something. Do you know your net worth right now? Most people don't. That's because they've been taught to focus only on their paycheck, on what comes in every month. But wealthy people think beyond the next payday. They don't just chase income, they track and grow their net worth. That's their real scoreboard. To see the difference, picture this. Two friends earn $80,000 a year. Same job, same salary. One spends every penny, living large in the moment. The other lives smart, saving, investing, buying appreciating assets. At the end of the year, both earned the same income. But one has nothing to show for it, and the other is building real wealth. That's the power of focusing on net worth, not just working income. Here's the shift in thinking. Your income is only one piece of the puzzle. Net worth is your true financial picture. It includes everything you own, cash, stocks, real estate, minus what you owe. Rich people keep their eyes on this number. They ask, how can I grow it? That's why they invest, build businesses, and create passive income. Meanwhile, poor people stay stuck trading time for money. They're busy working hard, but not building wealth. Here's what you can do right now. Start tracking your net worth. List your assets, bank balance, investments, property. Then subtract your debts. Update this monthly. And here's your daily reminder. I focus on building my net worth, not just earning income. Every decision you make, from purchases to investments, ask yourself, will this grow my net worth? Because in the end, income can make you look rich. But net worth is what makes you stay rich. Chapter 17. Rich people manage their money well. Poor people mismanage their money well. Managing money isn't about how much you earn. It's about how well you handle what you have. Most people think, I'll start budgeting when I make more. But that's backwards. If you can't manage $100, you won't manage $100,000. Wealthy people know that the discipline to manage money is what attracts more of it. They respect every dollar. That's why money respects them back. Imagine someone winning the lottery, millions overnight. You'd think they're set for life. But within a few years, many lottery winners go broke. Why? Because they never built the mindset to manage money. Now contrast that with someone who starts with very little but carefully tracks every expense, saves consistently, invests wisely, and slowly builds a fortune over time. The secret isn't the amount, it's the behavior. Wealthy people follow simple systems. They divide their income into clear categories: spending, saving, investing, education, and giving. Even if it's just $1, they'll put 10 cents in each jar. Why? Because it trains their brain to handle wealth responsibly. Poor people, on the other hand, often avoid looking at their finances. They fear it. They ignore bills. They spend emotionally. But what you ignore disappears. What you manage grows. Start managing your money like a millionaire today, no matter your income. Set up separate accounts or jars, 50% for necessities, 10% for long-term savings, 10% for investing, 10% for personal growth, 10% for play, 10% for giving. It's not about perfection. It's about building the habit. Say this daily: I manage my money with confidence and purpose. Remember, it's not what you earn, it's what you keep, grow, and manage that builds lasting wealth. Chapter 18. Rich people have their money, work for them. Poor people work hard for their money. Most people are trained to trade time for money. They work hard, get paid, and repeat the cycle. But here's the truth: no matter how hard you work, there are only 24 hours in a day. Rich people know this. That's why they make their money work just as hard, or harder, than they do. They don't just chase paychecks. They build systems that generate income, even while they sleep. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. Take Sarah, a graphic designer. She was burned out from freelancing every hour of the day. One day, she created a simple online course teaching design basics. It started small, just a few sales a week. But over time, it picked up. Years later, that course brings in thousands each month, without her lifting a finger. She still works, but now she chooses to. That's the difference. Wealthy people build income streams, not income ceilings. This isn't just a story. It reveals how the wealthy think. Poor people often believe in one source of income, a job. But jobs are fragile. They can be lost, downsized, or outsourced. Rich people think in terms of assets, stocks, real estate, businesses, intellectual property. They understand leverage, money, time, people, systems. Instead of saying, "I can't afford it," they ask, "How can I make my money earn it for me?" It's not about working harder. It's about thinking smarter. So what can you do right now? Start small. List 2 to 3 ways you could create passive or residual income with your current skills. Could you sell a digital product? Invest in a low-cost index fund? Rent out a spare room or car? Then, take one tiny step today. Open the account. Research the idea. Sketch the plan. And repeat this affirmation: money works for me. I create streams of income that flow with ease. And remember, if you want to stop living paycheck to paycheck, don't just work for money. Make sure your money works for you. Chapter 19. Rich people act in spite of fear. Poor people let fear stop them. Everyone feels fear, even millionaires. The boldest CEOs and creators still get nervous before big moves. But here's the difference: they don't let fear stop them. They feel it, but take action anyway. Fear may ride along, but it doesn't drive the car. Poor and middle-class minds, they freeze. They overthink, delay, and wait for the perfect moment. But that moment never comes, and neither does real progress. Success belongs to those who act, even when they're scared. Meet Jason, a 28-year-old who had a dream of starting his own business. But every time he thought about quitting his job, fear took over. What if it fails? What if I lose money? What will people say? So he waited for 3 years. Then one day he met a mentor who said, "Fear is not your enemy. Inaction is." That line stuck with him. Jason didn't suddenly stop being scared, but he finally launched a small online store while keeping his job. After 2 years, that side hustle earns more than his full-time income. Not because the fear vanished, but because he moved through it. Most people think courage means not feeling fear, but real courage is feeling it and doing it anyway. Fear is natural. It's wired into our brains. But the wealthy know that success doesn't live on the couch. It lives outside your comfort zone. Poor people believe fear is a stop sign. Rich people see it as a green light that says, "Go. This is your path to growth." If you let fear control your decisions, your life will always stay small. Fear doesn't shrink the opportunity, it shrinks you. Think of something you've been putting off because of fear: starting a blog, applying for a new role, making that investment, or pitching your idea. Write it down. Now ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? Then, can I handle that? Chances are, you can. Then say this out loud: I act in spite of fear. I am bigger than my doubts. Now, take the first tiny step toward it. Not the whole journey, just one action. Courage isn't about being fearless. It's about choosing to move with fear and refusing to let it steer. Chapter 20. Rich people constantly learn and grow. Poor people think they already know. Let's be honest, growth is uncomfortable. It challenges what we believe, pokes at our ego, and demands effort. But here's the harsh truth. The moment you stop learning, you stop growing. And the moment you stop growing, you stop moving toward wealth. Imagine two friends, Mike and Jason. Mike graduated from college and thought he was done learning. He landed a decent job, made steady money, and spent his weekends watching sports and relaxing. Jason, on the other hand, treated learning like a daily ritual. He read books, took online courses, joined masterminds, and always asked questions, even when he looked foolish. After 10 years, Mike is still in the same job, complaining about his boss and his bills. Jason? He runs 2 successful businesses and mentors others on how to grow their wealth. Why? Because Jason never stopped being a student of life. Harv Eker makes it crystal clear. Rich minds stay open. They know there's always more to learn about money, people, business, and themselves. Wealthy people don't pretend to have it all figured out. They surround themselves with coaches, mentors, and new ideas. Meanwhile, poor minds resist growth. They say things like, "I already know that," or "This doesn't apply to me." That mindset shuts the door on opportunity. Remember, the ego says, "I know." But the millionaire mind says, "What can I learn from this?" Adopt a learning mindset starting today. Pick up a book on finance or mindset. Subscribe to a podcast that challenges you. Join a local meetup or online mastermind. And most importantly, ask questions, even if you feel uncomfortable. Because the people who grow the fastest are the ones willing to look like beginners. Stay curious, stay humble, and keep growing, because the millionaire mind is never finished learning. Conclusion. Most people think becoming rich is about luck, background, or timing. But now you know the truth. Wealth starts in the mind. You don't need to be born into money. You don't need a genius IQ or some once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. What you really need is a millionaire mindset. Because when your inner world changes, your outer world follows. Look at any successful person closely. Behind the bank account is a set of beliefs, habits, and mental rules that shape every decision they make. They expect to succeed. They train themselves to take risks. They practice discipline, even when no one's watching. And those who stay stuck? They're often trapped in fear, blame, or the belief that they're just not the type. But here's the truth. No one is born the type. You become the type by choosing differently. Every chapter in this book was a mirror, a chance to see where your thinking aligns, or needs a tune-up. Now, it's not about changing everything overnight, but if you start catching your old patterns and swap them with wealth-conscious actions, your path begins to shift. Day by day. Choice by choice. Your thoughts shape your feelings shape your actions, and your actions shape your results. Change your thoughts. Change your life. Don't just listen to this and nod. Pick one principle that hits home the most. Write it down. Stick it on your mirror. Make it your focus for the next 30 days. Because the difference between hearing a lesson and living it, that's where real transformation happens. You now have the blueprint. The only question is, will you use it? Because wealth doesn't begin in your wallet. It begins in your mind. So go out there and think rich, live rich, become rich,